Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Behind the Scenes at Solent Turf, where we're documenting our David versus Goliath battle as we try to launch a builders merchants alongside our 50-year-old family turf farm, competing against huge private equity money and some of the oldest companies around. As always, smash that like button and hit subscribe to continue watching our journey to see if these two underdogs can cause an upset. I'm Jack, he's George, and this is Building a Family Business, episode 20. Cue the music. Coming up on this week's episode, my dad thinks he's Pablo Escobar.
I'm not incriminating myself online.
My beard falls off, and George blocks a road with a bag of ballast. Welcome back, guys, to a frosty start this week as the sun is just rising on episode 20 of Building a Family Business. Can't believe we're now 20 episodes in. That is insane. It's gone so quick. We are looking forward to hopefully a much more productive week this week. It was a bit chaotic last week off the back of moving house. My head was all over the place. I was trying to get everything straight. I was running off with practically no sleep. It was a bit frustrating, actually. I felt like we lost a bit of momentum. So big goal this week is to make sure we get back on top of things, we regroup and make sure that we're pushing things forward. Another cold start to this week. We're still getting pretty heavy frosts at night. That's supposed to be changing about Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to warm up. All right, bruv.
All right, mate.
Lovely day for it.
Can't beat it, can you? A bit of sunshine.
Good weekend.
Yeah, good. Play golf.
What'd you shoot?
5 under, but it was a Texas scramble, so that's actually not good.
So it doesn't count.
No.
What's got? Golf tip of the week this week?
My golf tip of the week, shout out Prouty for this one, is that trees are 90% air, so just go through them, don't worry about it. The odds are in your favour.
George's golf tip of the week. Where are you off to with these this morning then?
Into the middle of town, actually.
Nice. What is it, this couple of pallets?
Yeah, it's not going to be fun though, access is not good.
A few moments later.
Do you want to explain why ballast and cement deliveries has taken you 3 hours?
I don't want to talk about it. That's why I bought chips. This is comfort food.
What happened?
The bag split. Basically, the bag split whilst I was lifting it.
Whose fault was that? The bag or yours?
Mine. I had to shovel it into a fresh bag before I could lift it off the off my lorry because it was on a bit of an awkward angle. Not good.
Now you're just drowning your sorrows in chips.
Yeah.
So the plan this week out on the farm is to just beginning of the week make sure that we're completely prepped and geared up, ready for the weather to break, and then as soon as the frost clears out, we'll be straight back on with spraying, rolling, fertilising, mowing, and dare I say it, the next thing, knowing this country, is it'll be a heat wave. We'll be getting ready to irrigate. So that's the plan this week. Just taken over from my dad in the John Deere with the flat roller. We've been out on these fields, or any regular viewers will remember this is one of the 3 fields that we had a lot of problems with when we drilled it back in September. We were left with a lot of gullies and ruts where the ground was so wet. So we're trying to get back on it now with a big heavy flat roller and get all of that rolled out. This is about the 4th time that we've been over this. My dad's been working really hard out here, evenings and weekends, to try and get it back into a good condition. Unfortunately, I don't know if anybody remembers the middle field over there where it was on the slope, which was really bad and all the seed had washed off. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to save that one. The middle section is going to have to be ripped up and re-drilled as soon as the spring arrives, which is a massive pain. We could have done without that. Luckily the top section and the bottom section of the field we will be able to save. So it is just a middle section, but it's still not ideal. My dad has now gone back to the yard to meet the planning officer who's coming out to look at the planning application we got in for the new barn in the top yard. We're 6 months into that planning application now, and we're still no closer to getting an answer. Honestly, the planning system in the UK is so broken. It takes so long to get anywhere with it. But anyway, I'll stop there before I get too political. So yeah, we'll catch up with my dad later to find out how that meeting goes. I've now finished that pass over this field going with the ruts, so I'm now going to do it another time. I'm going to diagonally go across the wheel marks. Hopefully that will then take them out a bit better.
What was it? What did the planning officer say then? Did you buy him a brown envelope?
Jose Mourinho, I speak I am big trouble.
So today, a couple of customers coming in first thing, which we prepped last night because we had a frost again last night, which fingers crossed that's the last frost now. Still got tons of rolling to do around the other side. A lot of turf to get on my dad and George today. My mum's busy back in the office. The phone has definitely picked up. We're doing loads of price reviews, lots of new products being added on. So there's all of that to get on top of back in the office, which will probably be my evening tonight. But yeah, that's the plan for today. I can see my first customers just turned up. So let's crack on. I don't know if it's showing on camera or not, but we're suffering with a little bit of frost damage and just pulled a tiny bit of colour out of it. But it looks like we've got no more frost forecast now. So as it warms up, I'm going to try and get on it later in the week and put some amino acids on, which will hopefully aid the recovery from the little bit of frost damage. It's Thursday afternoon, we're out in the field. It's a lovely day out here today. Bright blue sky, the sun is shining. George has just come in for his second load. He's over there with the John Deere, just getting a couple of pallets wrapped up, and then he'll be on his way. I've just folded up the turf harvester to transport it back round to the farm, park it up for the day. I've now finished cutting out in the field. I'm going to go back and pick up the sprayer on the other John Deere, come back in and get some iron and fertiliser back on. I think with the way this weather is, and we got more of it next week, feels like spring is officially here. So I reckon we'll see lots of new growth next week as the soil temperature rises. So yeah, that's what we're up to today. Sunny's back out again, first time of the year, isn't it?
Blue sky, sun going out, hectic. I'm dropped any deliveries today, which is always positive. So what's everyone's opinion on these beards? Looks better, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, no.
I've lost my brand image. Everyone used to say, you know the homeless guy that does the turf farm on YouTube?
Yeah. I've got 4 deliveries on, I've got to go get some shingle, some post mix.
4 deliveries on here now.
That's going to Al Lance. Big up Al Lance.
Yeah.
He'll be watching.
Do you reckon he's going to lay it himself?
No.
Got the sprayer on, we're just trying to level it up a bit to see it leaning back. Dad's going to shorten the top link now, just wind it forward so it's nice and level. That is all the spraying done for the day. I've sprayed about 2 hectares altogether. I wanted to spray more, so I would have done 3, but I ran out of chemical. I didn't have enough with me. Just trying to use this camera as a mirror to fold the booms up. It's not going very well. That looks better. Yeah, annoyingly ran out of chemical, so I'm going to try and put some on tomorrow, but it looks like it's going to rain, so I might not be able to do that until next week, which is not too bad. So I've got some more chemical coming down Monday, which I'm going to add into the mix. This was some amino acids, which I mentioned earlier on in the week. I'm going to put that into the tank and experiment with that, see what results we get. I'll lower this back down. Anything we might be able to spray tomorrow if it does rain is some pesticides, but otherwise we'll be back on the spraying next week. But that is us done out in the field for the day, so back to the office. Friday morning, bright and early. I'm just at home in the office, just going over a few bits before I leave for the day. Not got too much on today. I've got a little bit of turf to cut, a few orders for George, and then the plan is he'll come back into the office this afternoon. He's got loads to catch up on. We've still got our job advert that needs to go out live. That should have been done last week, but with everything we had going on and the house move, it never got done. So really important that goes out today. I'm just finishing my coffee whilst doing a little bit of editing for the episode that's coming out this weekend. I've got a few notes to type up here from spraying yesterday. Just trying to track exactly what products we're putting on the field, how they're performing, what's working, what's not working, how much is it all costing. That is what we're doing this morning. I'm just about to head round to the turf field. I'm a little bit nervous because I sprayed iron on it yesterday, and quite often or not it can turn the grass black for a few days after you put it on. So what I'll usually do is I won't spray right up to the line where we're cutting the turf. I'll stay sort of a week ahead of ourselves so it's got a chance to return back to green before we get to it with the harvester. But the last few times I've done it, that's not happened. It's not gone black at all. So I decided yesterday, I've sprayed everything right up to the line where we're cutting. I'm about to head round now and see what it's looking like. Hopefully it's not gone black. We have had a little bit of rain overnight, so that should help dilute it down as well. It looks like we've got away with it. There's a little bit of a black tinge on it, but nothing too bad. Most of the turf that I've come in to cut as well has now been postponed until Monday. That's because there's a little bit of rain around, so the customers have decided to wait. So that's helped us a little bit, because by then it'll be absolutely fine. What's slightly annoying is it now looks like that's not an end to the frosty weather, because next week we've got more frost coming back in. So my dad wants me to take the sprayer back to the yard and put it back in the barn just to protect it, which we're having a bit of a debate about at the moment. I don't think it's going to be that heavy to cause any damage. So we're having a bit of a debate whether it's worth taking it back or whether we leave it here. Obviously, as assistant manager, or assistant to the manager, shout out Ricky Gervais, what I say goes around here. So I'm going to ring my dad now and tell him that I'm not taking it back, we're going to leave it in the field. Well, that phone call didn't go to plan. I've just put the sprayer away in the barn, but I have picked up the fertiliser spinner whilst I'm over here. So I'm going to take that back over to the field, unhitch it in the field, then we've got it there ready to start putting some fertiliser on as soon as things warm up a bit. Now late into Friday evening, and I'm finishing up the week just reviewing some of the price updates that we've done today on the new stock. It got me thinking, this is a real tough industry that we're trying to crack. It's very cutthroat, everybody's trying to undercut one another, and it feels like a bit of a race to the bottom, which is something that I definitely want to avoid. I don't want to fall into that trap of thinking, oh, we do enough volume, it will be all right. If we can turn over 2, 3, 4 million quid, we'll then be making profit. So I'm just trying to, I don't know, have a little think, rack my brains, make some notes. Is there a way that we could pivot the business in a slightly different direction? I love the recycling industry, recycling topsoil, green waste. I think that could be something to look at. Whether we could look to add on, I don't know, plants, trees, instant hedging, that kind of thing, where the margins are a lot better. And I do think that will integrate with what we're already doing extremely well. I wouldn't rule out acquiring another business either. I have been looking at that. In fact, I spoke to a number of business owners, and there was one deal that I thought might come off, but we didn't get it over the line. And it's not dead in the water, it may still happen, but at the moment it's not looking likely. I think I was probably looking too small, and when you're dealing with owner-operators, I was finding that when you take them out of the equation and then the business starts to pay proper rent, you have to put proper people in place to replace the owner, there was very little profit left by the time I'd done all of that. I've just watched a video as well, I don't know if you guys have seen it, the Ashfield drops around everything that's happening to them at the minute. And it's really sad to see actually. I can't imagine what he must be feeling like right now. To have all that going on so publicly. And I see everybody jumping in the comments and there's people saying some quite nasty stuff, which I just can't get my head around. I can't fathom how sad your life must have to be to jump in the comments and kick someone when they're that down. Especially with everything he's done for this industry, and he's paved the way for a lot of people. So to see people jumping on the back of it and using it to get views for themselves, I think it's a bit of a shame. And I actually think you're going to see him come back stronger. I think it's probably the best thing that could have happened to him. I know how tough it is to run lorries. My cousin and my uncle would run a lot of lorries. They're very, very successful at it. And they've always said to me that unless you've got your own tips, there's no point being in the game. And he's obviously a tremendous businessman. So he's only going to come back stronger. And if he ever sees this, which I doubt he will, I really hope you do, mate. Anyway, I'm going to sign off for the week now. It's getting pretty late. It's nearly 11 o'clock. So I'm going to go and try and get some rest this weekend. I've actually been trying this new thing. This notepad is my new best friend. This is another thing that I've stolen off of Taylor Tassie. I've started, before I go to bed, I write everything down that's in my head. Any ideas, anything that I need to do, I write it down, get it out of my head, and I found it has been helping. I am then managing to switch off a lot better and get some sleep. So yeah, that is another week done. I hope you guys have had a fantastic week. I hope you've enjoyed episode 20 of Building a Family Business. I'll see you on the next one.